You're listening to CFRN, a community of believers who trade for a living. To learn more about who we are, what we do, and how we do it, call toll-free 1-866-928-3310, and we'll send you out a no-obligation information kit absolutely free. 866-928-3310. The CFRN Emini Futures Cast is now on Stitcher. Listen to us on your iPhone, Android phones, BlackBerry, and WebOS phone. Stitcher is smart radio for your phone. Find it in your app store or at Stitcher.com. Stitcher Smart Radio, the smarter way to listen to radio.
Are you ready, team? Andy? Yeah! Bert? Well, all right, fellas. Let's go!
You're listening to CFRN, the Christian Financial Radio Network.
Today's broadcast is brought to you by Audible. Get a free audiobook download at www.audibletrial.com/CFRN. Over 85,000 titles. Choose from mystery, romance, religion, science, technology, business, New York Times bestsellers, even children's books. You name it, Audible has it. With 85,000 titles to choose from, you're sure to find the perfect audiobook for yourself or to give as a gift, and it's absolutely free. Just point your browser to audibletrial.com/CFRN. That's audibletrial.com/CFRN. And become a part of the audiobook revolution by downloading your free audiobook today. audibletrial.com/CFRN.
Hey, trader, want to get rich quick? Well, good luck with that. If, on the other hand, you actually want to learn how to trade, the place to be is www.cfrn.net. Tune in Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. Eastern for our daily devotional, and then spend the next 3 hours learning how it's done from professional traders who actually trade for a living. That's www.cfrn.net. Every trading day from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern. CFRN, a community of believers who trade for a living.
Good afternoon, traders, and welcome back to the CFRN Emini Futures Cast. This is the daily broadcast of Indeterminate Length, where we discuss all things Emini, along with some really big ideas on the finer points of trading gold, bonds, crude, sugar, the euro, and even T-bills. Joining us today from our studios in Boston, Mr. Michael Bork. From our trading desk in Chicago, Mr. Burton Schlichter. Now, to get things started, let's go to our host and founder in Studio A, overlooking South Mountain, America's largest city park. Here's Dwayne.
Good afternoon. Welcome back. Today's Tuesday, 30th day of June, 2020. Thanks for joining us. Wherever you are, we're glad to have you right here, right now. If you cannot see the screen I have up, go to our homepage at CFRN.net. Someday, hopefully in the near future, I'll just say, open the app, right? Okay. But go to the homepage, and on the right-hand side, click the big microphone, follow the instructions. You'll be registered in about 30 seconds, and that will give you one-click access to the show each and every day. When you join that way, you'll have access to the chat box so that you can participate in the discussion. You'll even get a reminder each day right before the show starts, and then when you open that email, there's a link. Just click that, one-click access. If you're out of the office, though, can't get to your desktop software, point any internet-connected browser to CFRN.net/live, There you'll find a live real-time simulcast of the show as it unfolds. You can also find us streaming during the show on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. And just a reminder that although we're live here 2 hours each day for this show, the CFRN radio has been streaming 24/7 since April of 2005. Time flies, doesn't it? Okay, let's open with a word of prayer. Father, we thank you for your blessings, your mercy, for the grace you show us each day. Lord, I come to you today to place this great nation, some say this once great nation, of the United States of America, at your feet at the cross, knowing that our great country and its Constitution was made for a moral and religious people and is wholly inadequate for any other form of government. And yet we have strayed so far from the principles and practices of our great founders who drew up our Constitution based on your word, God. Now, God, this was once the land of the brave and the home of the free. Sadly, there's so much that is wrong with our country that I fear for its future. God, as a people, we have walked away from you and discredited your holy name by the way we have conducted ourselves over the past few years. And as a result, there's no health in our land. God, my prayer today is that you would look down in pity on your people, on our land, your land, and protect us from those that seem determined on destroying our nation. Father, I pray that you would send your Spirit, even as I speak, through the land of America and touch the hearts of all those that are called by your name to plead on behalf of our people. Convict those that are damaging our infrastructure as a nation, that they would turn from their wicked ways and return to you, to your rightful position, because you rule us with integrity and with truth, and we want to honor you, God, with the same. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. All right, here we are, Tuesday. Let me give you the numbers from around the world. And then Michael will give us a recap of what happened in the live training room this morning. Mr. Powell, Chairman Powell, Jerome Powell, he's going to start speaking at, stand by, still checking. He's going to start speaking at 12:30, 20 minutes. Fed Chairman Powell testifies. He'll be testifying on the economic outlook and recent monetary policy actions. The testimony is in two parts. First, a prepared statement, so that could bring some volatility. Then the committee conducts a Q&A session. Here's where the fun comes, the fireworks. The Q&A portion of the testimony can see heavy market volatility for the duration. So we've already instructed all of our traders, put the mouse away. Okay? If for some reason you didn't get your goal yet today, you can get it after this. But let this pass. We don't know what questions will be asked. We don't know what answers he'll give. And most importantly, we don't know how the market will react. Now, later in the show, I'm going to show you how we handle news. I'm going to draw you a simple graph on the chart, but let me just give you the numbers from around the world. We'll start here in the U.S. Cash markets, just pulling in fresh data. The indices, all right, the Dow up 45 points. NASDAQ up 130. That's a gain on the NQ, 1.5 points almost. And just a quick glimpse at the NQ. See, if we can get above blue and flat right here, if we can take out the swing high of yesterday, we're just a whisper away from the all-time historic high. Amidst all the anguish this country is going through, hard to imagine, right? Is it a unicorn? That puts the NQ up almost 1.5 points on the day. S&P 500 up 26 points, almost 1%. And the Russell 2000 up 12.5 points, almost 1%. And the commodity basket, crude oil, down 11 cents, trading 39.59 last. It's a drop of, we won't worry about it. Gold, on the other hand, up $18.50, trading 17.99.70 last, gain of a little over 1%. In the Asian markets at the close, Nikkei up 293 points, Shanghai up 23, Hang Seng up 125. The only mover and shaker there would be the Nikkei. That's a gain of about 1.25%. And in European markets at the close, FTSE down 56, the DAX up 78, the CAC down 9. No movers, no shakers. So it's a green day in Asia, mixed day in the UK, and at the moment it is a big green Radio Tuesday in the US of A. But buckle up, because Jerome Powell starts testifying here in a little over 15 minutes. And these markets will probably get lit up, probably see somewhat of a roller coaster ride, or it could be a snooze fest, but I'm going to give it 80% roller coaster, 20% snooze fest. But either way, we're not going to trade it. My suggestion, if you're not flat, get flat. Okay? Unless you like gambling. And then if you like gambling, you should just go to Vegas. You have free adult beverages, lovely cocktail hostess, music on the bandstand, Steppenwolf or somebody from the 70s. Michael, are you ready?
Yeah, sure. I am ready.
You came in so quietly there, I didn't know you were in the house.
Yeah, here I am.
Here he is. All right. This is how we do it. All right, guys. Now, what he's getting ready to do is to show you what happened 2 hours out of a 24-hour day. 2 hours a day, he provides live, real-time training in live markets where he goes over setup after setup after the same setup, but over and over and over across multiple markets. It is our underlying methodology, our underlying strategy. It's what we have under the hood. Whether it's him showing charts or me showing charts, believe it or not, it's the same thing under the hood. Michael, I'll hit mute. It's all yours.
Okay, here we go. Good afternoon, everyone. Today is Tuesday, the last day of the first half of the year, which means June 30th, 2020. Now, if you have not taken a free trial, go to the homepage here at CFRN.net. And right here it says free 5-day trial, no credit card required. Click on that, and you will eventually, there we go, be brought to this page where all we ask for is your name, your email, your phone number. You can tell us the biggest trading channel so we can tailor one-on-one training just for you. Hit the send button, and you'll be sent a confirmation link. Okay, now you must click on that confirmation link. All right, if you don't click the link, well, we don't know that you took the free trial. Okay, now, results. There we go. I'm going to have to fix up my spreadsheet for tomorrow. Today, as I said, is the 30th day of June, 2020. We were plus 11 in crude, plus 12 in gold, and plus 5 on the ES. Put us at plus 292.50 per contract on the morning session. Today took 30 minutes and 4 trades to get to the goal for the day. At that point, we're up 112. And we took a total of 9 trades. So we're going to end the month at plus $7,149. That's per contract. That's over 22 days, averaging $324 per single contract per 2-hour day. And I missed most of the trades, so you should have multiples of that. On the year now, we're at $43,564. That's over 119 trading days, averaging $366 per contract per 2-hour trading day. Now we'll get into what happened and didn't happen. Now, the markets were all over the place today. And part of it is because it's the end of the quarter and the end of the first half. And part of it is because we had some news come out, mostly good. And they were strange today because the ES, crude oil, and gold were all at the high of the day at one point. The euro too. They were all going up in sync. Now, we started out here. We started out here with nothing, and then it started to move up here. We missed that first trade, but we grabbed the second one. On that second one, we picked up 6 ticks. Third one, we picked up 4 more. And it looks like, yeah. The YBR trades were rocking again today. But, I'll just show you one, okay? My chart's just locked up on me. Here we go. Right here, we had blue on the YBR with an up close, nice bullish separation. And we had a great move up. Okay. We missed that trade, and we picked up 2 more ticks on that one to put us at plus 12. And let's see. Then it just gets into the break. Yeah, and get into the break. During the break, there was a short opportunity there, and there, and there. Now, on a larger time frame, you could have done that in a single trade, but on the smaller time frame that we deal with, okay, I take all that back. We had 4 trades on gold. That was all yesterday. We started out, we missed this one right here, and we missed that one. And we grabbed, right here, we grabbed 6 ticks. Then we grabbed 4 ticks. And then let's go over here. We grabbed 2 more ticks right here on this move down. We had a break even there, and we missed that one. And then it gets into the break. Okay, come on, scroll over. Scroll over. There we go. During the break, there was a lot of chop in here. And then you got to watch the slingshot down here, the cycle on the slingshot, because that's telling you the real story. There was a long opportunity there, a short opportunity there, and that was it. And the same thing goes for the YBR trades. There's one right here, red with a down close, nice bearish separation. You had a huge move down. Okay. Now I think I already did. I got to go look at my recordings that I have. But I think, let me go check something really quick. Here we go. Emini Trading Firms /YBR. Did I create that page yet? Yes, I did. Okay, so if you want to hear about the YBR trades, just go to CFRN.net/YBR, and you can learn about those trades. All right. What market is this? The euro. Okay, so the euro this morning started out with a nice short trade right here. I missed it, and another one right there that I missed. And you're probably asking, why did you miss that? The markets were really jumpy this morning, right at the beginning, and most of the day too. But I was doing other stuff, like on the euro, I didn't get any trades in today. But on the ES, we had 3. On crude, we had 2. On gold, we had 4. And then once I got the goal for the day, then it switches more to training mode. Now this is during the break. There was a short there and a short.
Hey everybody, my name is Kyle Dennis, and I've taken 15,000 into over 5 million trading stocks.
That was pretty much the
But
euro.
once upon a time, I was actually down $8,000.
Now on crude, let me scroll back here. On crude, we started out here. We picked up 5 ticks on that. Missed a trade, missed a trade, missed a trade. Picked up 6 ticks here, put us at plus 11. And then we get into the break. And during the break, it really wasn't anything during the break. And the ES, as Dwayne said, right now, the ES is something you probably don't want to be in, or gold, while Powell is testifying. But risk what you want. Okay, so on the ES, we started out here. Yeah, right here. We took our first trade right here and we picked up a break even. Then we missed that. We took our second trade. We ended up getting filled over here. So we really didn't miss it. We did get in it, but it was over here. And we got just one tick on that. And then over here, we got 2 ticks to put us at plus 3. Then here, we got 2 more ticks to put us at plus 5 on the ES. And then the crude trade right after that is where we picked up the goal for the day. Now, you can see the ES was just all over the place today. The YBR trades, they were still working on the ES, even though it was all over the place. If they triggered, there's one there. There's one there. There's one there. There's one there. If they triggered and the slingshot was saying it's okay, then they all worked out pretty well. But our regular trade setups, we didn't have too many of them on the ES today because it was all over the place. Okay, so here's a nice new YBR trade right here. Bang. Then you get into the break, and during the break, let's see. Looking, we really didn't have anything during the break. Okay, and I think it's because we're approaching this testimony by Powell. So, Jerome. All right, so to take a free trial with us, if you have not done so, go to CFRN.net and scroll down to where it says free 5-day trial. Click on that and fill out this little form. All we ask for here is your name, your email, your phone number. You can tell us this. It'll be better for you if you do tell us that. So when we do schedule one-on-one training, we have information about you ahead of time. Hit the send button. You'll be sent a confirmation link. You must click on the confirmation link. Okay? If you don't click the confirmation link, we don't know that you took the free trial. Now, back here to the spreadsheet. Once again, today is the 30th day of June 2020. We made 11 ticks in crude, 12 ticks in gold, 5 ticks on the ES. Put us at plus 292.50 on the morning session. Today, it took 30 minutes and 4 trades to get to the goal for the day. At that point, we're up $112 a contract, and we took a total of 9 trades. So on the month now, we're at $7,149 a contract. That's over 22 days, averaging $324 per contract per trading day. On the year, we're at $43,564. That's over 119 trading days, averaging $366 per contract per 2-hour trading day. And again, I miss most of the trades. But look at this. I'm knocking on wood right now. But look at the run we've been on. 1 green month, 2 green months, 3 green months, 4 green months, and finally, we had a down day. I was thinking about it last night. How many down days have I had this year? 1. Well, actually, this was a down day. I gave it all back. I got the goal for the day, but I ended up giving it all back. But the markets have been so crazy that, all we need is volatility. And if we get the volatility, then, there's no reason for us not to be making money. If it's going up and down and up and down and up and down, then opportunity is there. I was thinking about that last night. I didn't know how many down days I had this year. I actually had 2, but on one of them I got the goal for the day, but I had to keep trading, and I gave it all back plus $50 per contract, and the other one was minus $75. So it's a good time to be doing this, and if you're not, I don't understand why. Okay, and with that, we can pass it back out to fabulous Phoenix, Arizona, Studio A overlooking South Mountain, America's largest city park. There you go.
All right. Recap of the recap.
Today it took 30 minutes and 4 trades to get to 112.50 per contract.
Good job.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, guys. We'll jump right into the charts here in 1 second. But first, a word from our sponsor. No, I want to talk to you about something else. I'm sure you're all aware there's a move afoot to replace the Star-Spangled Banner with a song that I like very much, but not for the reasons that I suppose one would think I might like it, but the song's Imagine, written by John Lennon. They want to. This is a conspiracy theory. This is real. Let me show you. In fact, let's see how real it's gotten. We'll do a Google search here. But the lyrics, in case you don't remember your youth, imagine there's no heaven. Imagine there's no countries. Imagine no possessions. And no religion, too. We got a problem. I sent God an email. I'll show it to you. Dear God, send help past your other son, D. Now, the Beatles, very controversial, some of the arguably best music ever written, secular music. Most people would probably nod their head. What I did not know, honestly, until this past year, there's a podcast, one of my indulgences, called Disgraceland. And the first episode I think might have been about Elvis, and that's how it came to be called Disgraceland, but it's about famous musicians, rock performers, bands, and the seamy underbelly of the rock world. So each episode's about a different artist, Prince, or Keith Richards, or Kurt Cobain. You get the idea. I didn't realize how political the Beatles' lyrics were. I thought they were just like cool songs. And in that headspace we had in the 70s and 80s, it was just good music. And I knew the words and I sang along. I didn't know that they wrote a song about what happened at Kent State. and I'm only pointing this out not to make myself look stupid or stupider. We get inside of these bubbles. We live in these plastic Ono band type bubbles, right? And all this stuff is happening. And maybe we're aware, maybe we're not. I remember telling my son specifically so many times, son, he would say, yes, Dad. I said, you've got to always be aware of your surroundings. What does that mean, Dad? As he would bump into some lady in the aisle at Walmart. That's what I mean. Okay. Imagine Star Spangled Banner. Activists. Who are these activists? Francis Scott Key was a slave owner and a white supremacist. Okay. Well, we know that neither one of those things are good things. We do not support those things. Star Spangled Banner doesn't seem that racist as long as you skip the latter verses and ignore the white supremacist who wrote it. Oh, okay. But wait, you may be saying, I've sung it for years and I'm not racist. Besides, those patriotic high notes really make my red rockets glare. And it's true, the one verse that we trot out at sporting events is merely unsettling violent rather than outwardly prejudice. Okay. You know what? You guys can do exactly what I just did. Google Imagine and then Star Spangled Banner. You'll find this page, because later I do want to read the history behind the verse, but I'm not going to take up the show today doing that. So, number one, I don't think we should change it. They're going to have to work real hard to convince me that we even need to change it. And if we are going to change it, I certainly don't think it should be a song whose lyrics are, imagine there's no heaven. If there's no heaven, maybe I guess there's no God, right? Because it goes on to say, and no religion too. I'm no fan of religion. Religion has killed more people in the name of God than anything else on the face of the earth. Organized religion is trouble waiting to happen. A man seeking out the living God through God's word, that's I think how it was meant to be. You know, the early church, the disciples, they didn't have big cathedrals of stained glass, and there's nothing wrong with that. They met in each other's houses. They did life together. They didn't just meet on a Sunday night, and if you were, if you're really religious, you go on Wednesday night, Sunday morning, Wednesday night. Wow. Because, most of the population goes Christmas and Easter, if they go at all. So, the church today, the modern church, the church, I think that most churches strive to be the mega church. That was not the early church. Okie doke. Let's keep cracking with the markets. Let me bring up the Concierge Trade Alerts from last night, and you can grab a screenshot, and then we'll hit the daily chart. Okay. Here they are. Got them out last night, 6:15. Now we have two alert services. One's the Concierge. I mean, they're all included in a passport, but the Concierge is based on previous or historic price action. It's a static report issued once per session, and when one of these numbers is triggered, we often see it trigger multiple times throughout the course of the session. I think yesterday we counted up 5, 6, 7 times that one triggered off, one alert number, but important prices and important areas are almost always tested. Now later we'll look at the Logic 247. Those are based on current price action, and those come out around the clock in the Telegram channel, live in real time, 2 a.m., 2 p.m., whenever opportunity presents itself. Okay? Because we have traders around the world, so our day session is their night session and vice versa. Okay? So you got your screenshot? Very good. Let's go to the daily chart first. Do I have a weekly? No, I don't have one loaded up, I don't think. No. Okay, so let's just go with this. Here's the daily chart of the S&P. Now these fibs are reverse fibs. And let me show you. Typically you draw fibs, traditionally if you were taught anything about fibs, you draw from the low to the high. But you can draw in the other direction as well. From the high to the retracement low. Now, we've talked every day for the last few weeks about this battle with red and falling. Price reached an area of resistance that we had, anticipated finding resistance at. We did. Resistance sent us back to support at the BBC. We spiked down and touched the 24% reverse fib, which I have big picture fibs drawn as well, okay? The normal fib from the low to the high, right? And so price came down, found support at the BBC in the 24% fib. Support sent us to resistance at red and falling. And we spent 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. This is our 11th session fighting this battle. Now, there were a number of times we thought, remember this candle? At some point during this 24-hour candle, right, 23-hour, it was just a big green candle right up to the tippy top. Same was true here. Same was true here. Sometimes a doji is just a continuation signal. True story. Okay? And so, where are we now? We're at the 50% reverse fib from the swing high to the retracement low, right at it. More importantly, for me, we're above the BBC. If we close today above this green line, the bull-bear cross, okay, if we close where we are or any higher at all, then once we take out the high of this candle at 30.79.5, it's a clear shot up to about 31.21. Okay, so we'll be watching the close very closely today. Now, when Powell starts talking, if he isn't already, I'm supposed to start at 12:30. No, there's on my screen it says it's still to come. Okay. Now this thing could gyrate back and forth like crazy based on the questions and the answers. It's where we close the session. You're done trading for the day, I think. Okay, so just put the mouse in the drawer. We want to, if price can get above the, what are we at right now? 30. 30.69.75. The high of this candle, 79.5. If we can close above 79.5 today, not saying we will, I'm just saying if we did, that would give us a most incredible window of opportunity up to the 62% reverse fib where the market ran into trouble 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times. Okay? Market repeats itself all the time. Important prices, important areas. Almost always tested. Now again, this thing could get wild. So I do not recommend that you... Now if you're trading in SIM, I guess you could say, well, there's no harm. But the purpose of SIM is to teach you the mechanical aspects of the trading platform. It's to get you comfortable putting on and taking off orders. But it's also the place where you develop your behavior patterns. So when you go live and you're trading 20 contracts, are you going to trade news? I hope not. So then be today. If you start behaving today, even if you're in SIM, if you start behaving today like the trader you want to be, that's who you'll become. We are what we spend the most of our time doing. Right? Okay. Fair enough. So now we go, oh, let me show you this. We're not pattern recognition people, okay, as a general rule. But there are some basic patterns, just like there's some basic candlestick signals that are worth knowing and understanding, because they do show up and they often can lead to a fairly predictable outcome. Now, you've probably heard of the head and shoulders pattern. This is just a reverse head and shoulders, which means the head's down here, right shoulder or left shoulder, right shoulder. And because this consolidation, we keep building out this right shoulder. That's the second time I've adjusted that box since the first time I published this last night. Now, what's the trade? What's the setup? What's the big deal about a head and shoulders? Okay, once the first shoulder, the head, and the other shoulder is built, you draw a line and call it a neckline. Okay, that is the neckline. Now what you do is you take a measuring stick like this, and you place the measuring stick at the top of the head. So we'll get it as close as we can. Yeah, close enough. You get the idea. All right. So I'm trying to line that up with that swing low. Pretty close. Now, the distance from the top of the head to the neckline, the idea of a head and shoulders trade or reverse head and shoulders is that you'll duplicate this distance. It's called, they call it a measured move. So if we take this measuring stick now and we drag it up here, and plop it down on the neckline like so, that tells us that a measured move, in other words, if this head and shoulders pattern does what the Technical Analysis 101 book says a head and shoulders does a high probability of the time, it doesn't do it all the time. And if you ask me what the percentage rate is of a head and shoulders working, being profitable versus not being profitable, I don't have a clue. And as many different places as you could find the answer, you'll probably find a different answer at each place. And then you've got to throw in, okay, is that stocks? Is that equities? Is that futures? Is that currencies? Because probably each one of those various trading vehicles have some kind of different percentage associated with them. And again, we're not pattern recognition people, but this was so obvious last night, I thought it was worth pointing out. Now, also worth pointing out, right here where we had the bearish cross, that's an important price, important area, because that's where the bearish cross took place. It also happens to be, and when you find these things that overlap, intertwine, congruence, I've heard it called. Two things coming together that are both important. A weekly trading zone is one of the most important things we put on our chart every week. Then to have something like this show up dynamically at a fixed place of potential support or resistance, right? It's like finding an Easter egg. 2 for the price of 1. Now, because important prices and important areas are almost always tested, it would not surprise me that if this trade triggers, okay, we get a move up in this area, and then we possibly pull back to test the trigger, and then perhaps we make another run at this area. These important prices, important areas, guys, sometimes we see them trigger 5, 6, 7 times in a session. Okay, this is a much bigger picture type of idea. And then you get the one that goes the distance. Although as it gets up into this area, you probably get some turbulence there. Get some turbulence there. So Now, you've got this nice pattern cooking, and you've got the Fed speaking. And it looks like Maxine Waters, I thought he was going to deliver a prepared statement first. But what I'm seeing, I have a TV monitor over here on the corner of my desk. Looks like Maxine Waters is asking questions already. I thought he was going to do a prepared statement first.
As Congress breaks new ground with these remote hearings, I want to remind
That's kind of spooky to see that room sparsely populated. Everybody's keeping their proper social distance. So, okay, so now we can get into the recap. I wanted you to see the daily chart. I wanted you to see, I think I already showed you the NQ chart, right? I did the daily, how different, how much more bullish it is. Now, we're technical traders, but if somebody asked me, what's your definition of an irrational market? Well, I'd have to say there is no such thing, because whatever the market does is the right thing. But if pressed for a definition, this would probably be it. All-time historic highs based off of a few high flyers. And a deeply troubled economy. And I'm not a doom and gloom guy at all. Eternal optimist. Try to be. So, we'll be patient and see how it all plays out. For the NQ to challenge the all-time historic high, it would have to get above this swing high. Right here. All right, on the S&P, last night, the alert said, oh, this weekly trading zone is from 2 weeks ago. It's still in service. Just keep using it. Okay. Now we're getting from this area where we expected to find the resistance. We did. Again, now price pulling back to the BBC. In a perfect world, price will meet up at the weekly trading zone. Price will come in here. The BBC will come in, nice support, another leg to the upside. Okay? Now, that's in a perfect world, so it may not look exactly like that, but that's the principle, that's the concept, that's the idea. Okay? It is the next high probability move. No one knows the future. God chose not to give Adam that ability, and that's what we inherited. You, and I don't care what anybody says on their website or in their email. You cannot change the past or know the future. And those two things are inextricably linked for eternity. So don't let people pull the wool over your eyes. Okay? Nobody knows what's going to happen next. But you can know what the next high probability thing is. And the next high probability thing here is if price can just get below blue and climbing here, which is currently acting as support. If it can trade below that and come down to the weekly trading zone, beat up with the BBC, we expect it to be good support. Just like here. See how this pulled back? Nice support. Okay. Holds more often than it doesn't, but it can't hold all the time, every time, because if it did, we'd have a stagnant market. So if we get that meetup, then we'll have an opportunity, except I won't put out an alert while this testimony is happening. Now, let's say we come down here and we gyrate, then we calm down and we just close the session consolidating in this area. Wait for the Globex open tonight at 6 p.m. Eastern, and then that might present the long opportunity. Okay, last night's alert. Consider being long, 3063. That's the one I just gave you a screenshot of. I say we've only triggered once at 3063. So is it a high probability that price will now come back and trigger again? Yes, very high. So buy. Again, the alerts These alerts, the static report, the ones based on previous price action, the Concierge Trade Alerts got out last night at 6:15 p.m. Eastern. So that's the 1800 candle, which is, it was during the life of this candle. So price did this and this before it triggered up here now. The short side of the S&P was 3019, so that was never triggered. From 3016 to the area that we anticipated to be potential resistance, 3073, again a zone from 2 weeks ago, that's a 10-point move at $50 a point, $500 per contract traded. Okay. Now, if you become a CFRN member, when you receive your 24/20 blueprint, your first task will be to put together 10 consecutive days in a row in SIM where you reach your goal in 10 trades or less. Once you do that, the blueprint gives you the green light to go live with just one contract. Then your goal is to increase your account balance by $2,000. When that happens, you get the green light to add a second contract. The beautiful thing is that second contract is being added with profit you earned in the market. The first contract you fund with your savings under your mattress, wherever you get your money. But the second, the third, the fourth, the fifth, right? Whatever size you decide to grow your trading business to. After the first contract, if you're going to stay with the program, if you're going to follow the blueprint, every additional contract is added when the blueprint says, and with profit you earned in the market. If the blueprint's saying add another contract, go from 6 to 7 or 7 to 8, and you don't have the profit to add that additional contract, you should not be adding another contract. We should be getting together for a mentoring session, taking a look at your trades, and just talking and, get a handle on what's happening. All right, so price actually dipped back below the trigger on this candle and popped up about 5 points. And then, what was the swing low of this candle? 65.25. Okay, this candle didn't quite get back below it, but the one we're on right now, the swing low is 61.25. So price has gotten below, but we won't take action on this candle. We'll wait. There's 7 minutes left in the life of this candle. I'd like to see us get a little bit lower. I mean, again, in a perfect world, I'd like to see it pull back all the way here to the weekly zone. However, if blue and climbing continues to act as good support when this next candle opens in 6 minutes, as it starts to print green, we have a methodology, 3-step methodology, where we'll go to a different chart and we'll time our entry and establish our stop loss based on market structure. So you've got timing and market structure working in your favor with our 3-step method. And it's so simple, I can teach it to you in one 45-minute mentoring session. Okay? All right, let's go to the Dow. Now remember, we've got this big picture opportunity cooking. Price would have to trade 25,680. I think I put an exact number in the post in the discussion group. If you're on the trial, participating in the open house, if you're not chatting with us or just having deep talks with us in the discussion group, well, you're missing out. You'll meet some nice people. You'll meet traders with experience. You'll meet traders who are just getting their experience. Great group of people, and it's family friendly, right? We won't insult your intelligence or your dignity. Fair enough. We treat everybody with dignity and respect. All we ask is that you remember that's a two-way street. So on the Dow last night, the alert was to be long 255.65. 255.65. 25565. This, my recognizing this reverse head and shoulders came after I published the Concierge Trade Alerts last night. Now the swing, now you'll notice we triggered once, twice, 3 times, tiny trigger here. So, now let me get this out of the way. The swing high here was 604. So 604 minus 65, 40 points at $5 a point, $200 per contract traded. And here's another trigger that ran to 590. What was the high? I'm sorry, 607. So that's about the same thing. Now, while these did not go as far as obviously we would like to see them go, they were certainly profitable enough to reach your goal for the day. But you see how we're climbing the back of blue and climbing here? That's bullish. Here, this is not an alert that you would trade because red and falling represents resistance. No bueno, right? So price pulls back, takes another run. This time it doesn't quite get there. You do have the support of blue and climbing though. But I want you to take a look at what's happened down here. And the cycle, on the cycle in the slingshot indicator, look, you see how it turned red? And I call this, the official term is the bias line. I call it the 50-yard line. Okay. When the cycle is below the 50-yard line, that is supportive to a short trade. Okay. You see? So this is a long alert. So this is not what you want to see when you're trying to put on a long trade. Now, I make my decision up here, but I like to be aware of whether or not I have, because I know what the slingshot's measuring, okay, and I like to know that I have that wind at my back. But again, it's not a part of the decision-making process itself. For me, in the morning in the live room, on the range chart, which is a fast chart, down here, this is very, very important. So always pay attention when Michael's teaching and talking about the slingshot, and then ask any questions that you have about it to him, because he leans on it much more so than I do, because it was really built to work with that faster time frame. Okay. So this trigger here, this only ran to 574. It's like $50, okay? But that's the truth about trading. We don't just come on every day to show you how we knocked it out of the park. In fact, we don't use that kind of language ever. But, you know, getting stopped out in trading, getting stopped out is as much a part of trading as breathing is a part of life. It's going to happen, right? Try holding your breath, see how long that lasts. You can't avoid it. Now, of course, people make billions of dollars a year selling you so-called solutions that will prevent you from knowing the agony of defeat. Okay? To whatever degree they lie, it's, you know, it's a lie. I mean, because there's no avoiding it. No man is clever enough, no algorithm is fast enough, because a computer can only do what man tells it to do. And man can't tell it how to know the future, because man can't tell the future. Since Genesis, it's in the book. God had a big old list of ingredients for Adam. Being able to change the past or knowing the future, not part of the plan. Now the short side for the Dow last night was 25175. That obviously hasn't triggered yet. Now, these static alerts, okay, the static alert, this report, as you're waiting for price to approach these numbers, you're getting live real-time trades in the Logic 247 channel. Because you've got these two lines in the sand. Everything in the middle is price trying to make up its mind. That doesn't mean you can't trade this beautiful advance up to that trigger. Okay. Now, Russell. Last night on the Russell, instead of being long, 1436. Okay, swing high, 1438.4. Russell pays $50 a point. So the number was 1436. I think this lack of follow through today is in part because this anticipated volatility in the markets. Obviously, the questions haven't hit the hot button or the panic button yet. Those things seem pretty quiet. So from 1436, we ran up to 14. So that's, you know, $120 per contract, right? Thereabouts. Price got back below the trigger, triggered a second time, ran up to 1440 and a half. So that's 4.5 points at $50 a point. Just like on the S&P and the Dow, we'd like to see price pull back to the BBC, find good support, and then give us another tradable opportunity to the upside. Short side last night for the Russell on the CTAs, $13.99. Which may or may not become important later in the session. The fresh numbers will be issued tonight as soon after the Globex Open as I'm able to get them out. Okay. So we did the S&P, the Dow, the Russell. Let's do the NQ. Guys, if you have any questions at all, put them in the chat box. Happy to answer. You won't interrupt my flow or anything. There we go. So last night's alert on the NQ, 1,053. It's going to be right about here. Okay, 1,053, and the swing high was 103, so that's exactly 50 points. 50 times $20 a point, that's $1,000 per contract trader. That's what the market made available. All we do is shine the flashlight, show you where to walk so you don't trip over other people's feet while you're getting to your seat to watch the movie on the big screen. We have no delusions of grandeur. We didn't make this happen. We just shined a light. One of those a day. I said one of those a day. Would put you in the top 3% of wage earners worldwide. Really? It's a fact of math. I mean, multiply that times however many trading days there are in a year. Well, okay, so then if it's so great, how come everybody's not doing it? Because trading's not easy. It's probably the most difficult thing you've ever tried in your life. 9 out of 10 fail. It's so bad. I mean, brokers have, not our broker, but brokers have a term or a phrase called the 90-90-90 rule. 90% of new traders will blow up 90% of their money in the first 90 days. So if you've ever wondered why your broker isn't falling all over himself to talk with you whenever you call, because he has no statistical reason to believe that you'll even be a part of his life 90 days from now. Sad state of affairs. That's why we're so keen on Daniel's Trading and Bert Schlichter. If you open an account with them and trade with them, Michael and I receive no finder's fee. We don't get a split of the commissions. We could, but we chose not to because that would muddy the water. You would question why we recommend them. Well, we recommend them because they're the best. Bert, Sunday night, you're not even going to believe this, but I'm going to tell you anyway because it's true. Sunday night, one of the new people who had just come to the pre-Globex strategy session that we had Sunday night before the markets opened, a gentleman who had attended that wanted to get his indicators up and running Sunday night. And so I typed in a message in the discussion group and I said, hey, call Bert, leave a voicemail. This way Monday morning when he comes in first thing, he'll get you taken care of. This is on a Sunday night. I'll be doggone if Bert didn't type in, send it to this email address or something. Send your user ID to this address and I'll get it fixed for you first thing in the morning. Where are you going to find that? Only one place I know. 866-928-3310. His name is Bert. Great guy, salt of the earth. He knows the business. He's a straight shooter. He won't pull your chain. And he'll try to help you. Unlike all the other brokers out there who adhere to the 90-90-90 rule, Bert tries. He tries real hard. He can't turn anyone into a success. He's not a magician. But he can make sure that you have the proper tools, the proper information to make wise, intelligent, logic-based trading decisions. Okay. So we haven't done crude yet. Let's do crude. At the zone. Bang. Okay. So last night's alert on crude was to be long 40.10. Which we haven't got to yet. We'll be ready when it gets there, if it gets there. Now, notice what happened on this move up. These are all this week's current weekly zones right here. 39.90/95, 39.20/25, 40/45, 60/65. What's price done? It's gone from zone to zone to zone to zone in a very orderly fashion. Only 3 things happen when price encounters a weekly zone. We've been publishing these zones since December 14th, 2009. All of our members get them Monday morning, 6:15 a.m. Eastern. The most likely thing to happen when price gets to a weekly trading zone is consolidation. That's going to happen 70% of the time, 75. Okay. Now, consolidation could be 2 30-minute candles. It could be 50. It consolidates until it makes up its mind and is ready to move on. That's the most likely thing to happen. The second most likely is this. That's called rejection. See, this was a big green candle, just like this one. Big green candle touching the zone, but before the 30-minute candle was over, we were left with just wick touching. Think about reaching over and touching a hot stove and snatching your hand back. Yeah, rejection. Okay. Now the third and least likely, but it happens, the third and least likely thing is called the slice. This isn't a great example of a slice because we had just touched the zone, but you'll get the idea. A slice is a candle that slices through a weekly trading zone, like it's not even there. When the move runs out of steam, it will tend to pull back to the zone that it sliced through, consolidate, and then continue in the direction of the slice. Very orderly. Boom, boom, boom. And price has been behaving the same way around the zones since we first published them back in 2009. And I've even taken the idea, the principle that I create the zones from, and I've gone back in time before we were publishing them. And based on historic charts, the same principle has been at work since the inception of the markets. And no, that's not something I teach. I give you the zones every week. But how to create the zones, that's my exit strategy, my golden parachute. When the day comes to hang up the mouse, Michael and I are going to fill a stadium somewhere and change the world of trading forever. Hope you be there. Okay, so crude last night, the alert, 40.10 on the long side, 38.35 on the short side. So we don't have a CTA trigger. We had crude triggers, or logic triggers, but not a CTA trigger. And then gold. Last night's alert for gold was to be long 1792. Right there. 1792. We made it up to 1804. So 12 points. 92. Yeah. 12 points. At $100 a point. That's what gold pays. So that would be $1,200 per contract traded. That's if you entered at the entry, the published entry, and if you exited at the swing high. Now, there's only one way to exit at a swing high or swing low, and that's by luck. Since we don't know the future, and no one does, you don't know it's a swing high until after the candle closes. The second it closes, you can see, that maybe it put in a higher high, but how do you know the current candle won't go on to put in another higher high? That's the definition of a trend. You don't. So after the fact. Okay. So what do? Well, first you look for a zone. Okay. Now there was a zone at 1794. But something that I teach our traders is when you're in a perfectly good trade that shows no sign of weakness, it's kind of like, why jump out of a perfectly good airplane, right? Now, we have what's called an exit signal, and we may be on the verge of getting one. When you have an extended move like this, as the move starts to run out of steam, price will start to walk sideways, just like it's doing right now. What we're watching for is for this step line. You see how the step line is on the left side of blue and climbing? All the way up. Steps up and over, up and over, up and over, up and over. What we're waiting for is it to go over again without going up. That will put the step line on the right hand side of blue and climbing. Once that happens, the first red candle that closes below the step line, whatever that closing price is, that's your official exit signal. Now the exit signal is not going to ever get you out at the swing high or the swing low. Not possible. Sometimes it can do a very good job of getting you out pretty close. Now, again, the premise of this trade was to be long 1792. First place you would consider taking profit would be at the zone overhead, 1794. And then the next zone above that is all the way up at 1809. So, I mean, this thing may still have legs. 1809/10 is the zone. Next zone overhead. So if this candle closes green, see, we've got a leg and a very shallow retracement. If we could get another leg. So what you can do is you can obviously stay in the trade if you're in it to see if you're going to get an exit signal or continue higher. One of the two is going to happen. You're either going to get an exit signal, which means the step line crosses blue and climbing, and then a red candle closes below it. The price keeps moving higher. Obviously, there's an obstacle between here and that weekly trading zone. People were willing to pay $17.99.2, 0.3, 0.4. They were willing to pay $18.01.40. They were willing to pay $18.02.40. They were willing to pay $18.03.40. The swing high of this candle was $18.04. That was the swing high. They would pay $18.04, but not a man would pay $18.04.1. And when buyers stop buying, this is what happens. Price dropped back to a price that buyers were suddenly willing to pay. $17.97.80. It takes financial commitment for markets to rise. All that it takes for markets to fall is for buyers to stop buying. I'm seeing Jerome on the screen. Let's listen to him for just a second. He's got a mask on.
System in the face of these downside cases. We know that the majority of firms were still adequately capitalized, sufficiently capitalized in all of those scenarios. Notwithstanding that, what we did was that we said for the first time in the history of these tests, we said that we're going to ask the banks to resubmit their capital plans. We're going to distribute scenarios, and we're going to look at the results again as we learn more about the path of the crisis. And in terms of the precise metrics we're going to be looking at, we'll be providing more clarity about that going forward.
But based off that uncertainty, you want to make, you're asserting as a regulator that you will act.
On the screen, the scroll underneath says country facing extraordinary challenges. Okay, so he's not trying to put lipstick on this situation, as he didn't last time. He was pretty straightforward, at least to whatever degree it seems straightforward to us. I see a question in the chat box. Sorry I missed it earlier. Is your entries the same as Mike's, except 30-minute instead of 4-tick range bars? Yes, thank you for the question, Jesse. That is correct. The whole principle is the same. What's different is the time frame and the amount of risk allocated to the trade. On that range chart, we're able to limit risk to 8 ticks per trade. Every trade, every market, 8 ticks. On the alerts, which are based off of time-based 30-minute charts, we don't want to risk more than $300 per contract per trade, less when possible. We don't use just a fixed number or a percentage or a ratio or a formula, because every trading opportunity is a unique moment in the market. And based on market structure, that unique moment in the market, that unique trading opportunity requires a unique stop loss based upon the structure of the market. And that's what I teach all of our traders in the 3-step methodology. And Tim just pointed out that gold just sliced. Yes, it sure did. We were talking about the 3 things that happen when price gets to a weekly trading zone. Number 1, consolidation. Number 2, rejection. See how price was rejected off the bottom of this channel? I mean, that's a whole different thing, but the concept of rejection is the same. The slice. Now, honestly, this is not typical slice behavior. More typical would be this red candle would have pulled us right back down here to the zone, which would have become good support. And then we continue in the direction of the slice. We are continuing in the direction of the slice. That's how bullish the market is right now. But typically, we would get a deeper pullback. Sometimes you just have to take the shallow pullback. I like a deeper pullback because if price pulls all the way back to the zone, okay, I have an opportunity to get long all the way back up to just before that swing high. Because of this shallow pullback, my window of opportunity shrinks like this. So for that reason and that reason alone, I would much rather see a deeper pullback. Come on back to the 50% fib. Come on back to the 62. Because then I have more room to run before I run into an obstacle. The fibs on this move in gold right here, from the low to the high, a shallow 24% Fibonacci retracement. Looks like we didn't even quite do a full 24. Yep, the swing low was 1798.40. Yeah. So I think we missed it by a couple ticks. But it's going to have to do. But see, now you've just got this tiny little window from like 1802 to 1803. And that's a valid opportunity. I'll put it in the alert channel. Okay. Alert number 4295. GGCQ20. This will be long. 1802 to 1803. And then the weekly trading zone is up at 1809. Well, there's actually possible resistance at 1804. Then the weekly zone overhead, which is the ultimate trade to target, 1809 / 1810. Okay. And the alert is in the channel. All right. Now, so we've gone through the S&P, the Dow, the Russell, the NQ, crude, and gold. Now, I always tell you that we're very transparent. And we are. We don't come on every day just to tell you, just to toot our horn when we have some, brilliant day. No, we deal with whatever happens every day. Good, the bad, the ugly. Wouldn't exactly call this ugly. Actually, it's keeping in line with our expectations. We're in our 100th week of Logic 247. That's our 24/7, round-the-clock E-mini alert service. We open for business Sunday night, 6 p.m. Eastern. We stay open until Friday afternoon at 5 p.m. Eastern. We've averaged over the last 100 weeks. Why does that say 98? That should say 100. Are you tracking with me out there, Val? I guess she's on the phone. Yeah, we're in week 100. Let me show you. Let me show you last week, so then we can get into this week. Here we go. Okay. We're in week 100. It started Sunday night, 6 p.m. Eastern. Last week, week 99, we had a total of 115 alerts. 27 never triggered. We had 88 actionable alerts. 9 of those got stopped out. So 10% of actionable alerts were stopped out. That's not typical results. The typical results over the 99 weeks has been that 20% get stopped out on average. Okay? So Sunday night we came in. The market had given us, and I got to show you this. This is the truth about trading. Okay. Now, let me just get the S&P up. Let's go back to the Sunday night gap lower open. Okay, so you see it real good. All right, so this is where the market closed Friday. This is where it opened Sunday night down here. And we had on a trade to close the gap. Anytime the futures market, oh, by the way, FedEx reports today, their shares are up 55% since the sell-off in February. You could see a gap when the market reopens tonight because they report after the bell. When a big name reports after the bell, it's usually the techs that move the market, but just be prepared. All right. Because futures trade around the clock, the reason we get giddy on a Sunday night is because that's about the only time we ever see a gap in futures, because they trade around the clock. Okay. And sometimes in earnings season. So if you just looked at this chart, you'd go, oh, wow, what a beautiful trade, man. Close the gap. Woohoo. It did. Did close the gap. So why does it say, okay, the S&P, let me show you the Dow. The S&P, that one clocked. But here's Sunday night on the Dow. However, looking at this one, you would naturally go, okay, whoa. Gap lower open, close the gap, no sweat, right? Well, this is the truth about trading. This thing, I forget, was like 2 ticks off. It exceeded the allowable stop loss by just a couple ticks. And so we got to put a red X. I mean, obviously it filled the gap, but our recap, our numbers are based on not risking more than $300 per contract per trade. Okay? So the Dow got stopped out. The Russell got stopped out. NQ. Thumbs up means we found a target. There's gold. Crude. It was a brutal Sunday night, let me tell you. S&P, Dow, Russell, NQ, ES, Dow, no trigger on the Russell, NQ, no trigger on crude. Now we're getting into Monday. Now, it was a busy Sunday night, but boy, those of you that are on the trial, you have the history of all the weeks. Scroll up and see what happens most Sunday nights. They're busy, but not brutal. This Sunday was rough. So now we're into Monday morning. Okay. S&P, Russell, NQ, crude, gold, S&P, NQ, S&P, Dow, Russell, gold, crude. Still waiting on that one, I guess. The Dow, the Russell, the NQ, gold, soybeans, copper, more copper, copper the right contract, you, crude, the Dow, gold. Now we're rolling into Tuesday. Remember, this goes around the clock, 24/7. From Sunday night at 6 p.m. Eastern, to Friday afternoon at 5 p.m. Eastern. These are the ones that are happening between those lines we drew in the sand for the Concierge Trade Alerts. This is based on current price action. Concierge is based on historic price action. Russell, crude, accidentally typed a duplicate this morning. Gold, and more gold. Now, in an easily digestible format, here's the recap for Logic 247. I just went through all of last night's Concierge Trade Alerts. This is the recap for the entire week of the Logic 247 alerts. It's only Tuesday. We've already got 46 alerts out there. 8 never triggered. 3 we're still waiting on a disposition. So we've had 35 actionable alerts so far this week. 8 got stopped out. 23% of actionable alerts stopped out so far this week. Again, last week we had an incredibly good week. What was it, 9%, 10%, something like 10%, I guess. But the average over the last 99 weeks, this is our 100th week, we've averaged 20% getting stopped out based on not risking more than $300 per contract per trade, less when possible, based on our 3-step methodology. Any questions about anything? About the trial? About the passport? About the indicators, the platform, the methodology, the strategy? How do I get a free mentoring session? Which, by the way, is not an opportunity for me to pitch you. Okay, I don't have time to pitch you. My pitching days are behind me. I will answer your questions about our method and our strategy and what it means to you as a trader. We've assembled everything under one roof. Everything a trader needs, one price. We have no upsells. You're not going to find out next week that we've discovered some new thing which is really shiny and you really need to buy it if you really want to be successful. I mean, everybody that really wants to be successful is buying this thing. Come on. Shameful. Now, most people say, all right, I've seen you work. Looks pretty good. Why you waste your time training other people? You know what I tell them? I lean in real close and I go, the money. And they go, huh? And I go, the money. Yeah, that's the truth. We do it for the money. Now, when he and I were struggling, we did say one day, if we ever figure this thing out, we're going to build a place where people can come and actually learn how to trade. That made us feel good about ourselves as we had another losing day. You know, another account bites the dust. But by the grace of God, we actually did figure it out. You know, he and I got together in late 2005, early 2006. By got together, I mean we started working together, happily married, 35, 36, 36, a lot of years. Okay. Anyway, so I've heard a lot of these quote-unquote gurus when asked that question, okay, if you got such a handle on this, mister, why are you spending your time teaching other people? And I've heard stuff that makes me like just a little queasy. You taste a little bit of kind of throw up. I don't know. And you're, oh, well, you know, the market's been so good to us. We just want to give back. Liar, liar, pants on fire. You're doing it for the money too. Why don't you just be honest? It says right in the good book, the laborer is worthy of his wages. And honestly, what we charge, it's not much, considering that some of the bigger names out there, I suppose we could have a bigger name if we wanted to have infomercials on TV like they do, right? But because they overpromised their clients, that big name I'm speaking of, they were charging people like $27,000, $37,000, $57,000, whatever they could get, right? That's what's in the FTC lawsuit, whatever they could get. Because part of the initial interview to see if you're qualified to be a part of their program is you got to do a financial disclosure sheet. They know how much stinking money you got in the bank when they sit down to pitch you. Think everybody gets pitched the same price? Nope. Is that illegal? Highly. The Attorney General is going to have a field day with that. I wish no ill on anyone, but I used to sit here at night and watch that infomercial like a moth to a flame. How do they get away with this? How do they sleep at night? Well, every dog has its day. And so I don't know if that thing's come crashing down. I do know this, even though they charged a horrendous amount of money, they did teach folks some pretty good basic stuff about the markets. We have a lot of students that came from that place. And they come to us knowing a lot of the terminology, concepts, ideas. They're educated people. They just don't know how to trade. Because that's where most places drop the ball. They give you a lot of information, books and videos and stuff, but they don't wrap it up and put the bow on the package. Because if they did, they could never sell you another thing. You tracking with me? Once I teach you how to trade, I can't sell you anything else because now you know what I know. And we don't insult people's intelligence by these new discoveries, of which we only have 3 copies left. Only got 2 seats left in the webinar tomorrow. It's a digital webinar. So anyhow, don't get me worked up. If you're sick and tired of being sick and tired, if you would actually just like to learn something so elegant, so simple, the underlying principle of how markets work is not that complicated. Men have made it appear very complicated so that they can sell you an endless array of solutions to a problem that doesn't even really exist if you look at it through the proper lens. At the right scale, everything looks simple. If you're on the trial, make sure you have the platform and the charts up and running so that you get full benefit of your trial. And book a one-on-one mentoring session with me or with Michael or both of us if you want. We'll spend a 45-minute session with you answering any questions that you have. Again, I'm not a teenager anymore. I've been around the sales business all my life. Ran some companies, owned some companies. But my pitching days are over. I'm not going to get you in that room and grill you, try to get you to sign up. I'll just answer your questions. And then Valerie will send you an email that has a price sheet, a spec sheet. We only have one thing, so it's like one price, one money. You pay us one time, and then you have lifetime access to everything we do. The live room every day, the workshops every Thursday night, all the Telegram channels, the weekly zones, everything CFRN. You own it for life. Okay? One money. We don't negotiate. We don't haggle. We don't charge, whatever we can get based on how much money you have. Everybody pays the same thing. And it's less than $5,000. And these guys over here across the street are charging $50,000 plus. And then people show up on our doorstep because they just still don't know how to trade. The reason 9 out of 10 people fail is because nobody ever taught them how. If I tried to fly an airplane today, I'd probably fail. If I tried brain surgery today, I'd probably fail. If I tried to fix the plumbing in my house, I'd probably have to get out of a lifeboat. So, if you're serious about learning how to trade, and I'm eternally Sorry for all of the bad experiences you've had and all the money you've spent and the time that you've spent. You know, I did it too. Michael did it too. Valerie did it too. 99.9% of the traders that you'll talk to in our discussion group, which you have access to if you're on the trial, they did it too. For the first time in their life, they got a glimmer of hope in their eye. They're actually starting to understand this complex behemoth, the market. And they're finding out that trading's not easy, but it can be simple. And if you'd like, I'll show you just how simple it can be. Just get with Valerie and she'll help you book a one-on-one session. Yesterday, we talked about getting out of the boat. Remember that? And Jesus says, come, walk. We do. Today, we'll talk about giving God all the glory. 1 Corinthians 1:29, it says that no flesh should glory in his presence. Today I'm going to tell you a story about a woodpecker who was pecking away at a pine tree when it was hit by lightning. It split from top to bottom. The woodpecker blinked, uncertain and hardly able to believe his eyes. He backed off. He looked at the tree for a moment, and then he flew away. He came back later leading 9 other woodpeckers. With a great deal of swagger and pride, he pointed to the tree and said, "There it is, gentlemen, just like I told you." Now let's get serious. As long as you remember to give God the credit for your success, He will keep using you and blessing you. James 1:17 says, every good gift, every perfect gift is from above. That means every good thing you enjoy today and every good thing you'll need tomorrow, it's all a gift from God. Paul writes that no flesh should glory in his presence. There's no bragging in heaven, just praise. Why is that? Because you can't brag about how you got to heaven, because it's all by God's grace. And you can't brag about what you did for God before you got to heaven, because it was all God's calling on your life. Isaiah 42:8, he says, I am the Lord, that is my name, and my glory I will not give to another. Again, he says in Isaiah 43:7, everyone who is called by my name, whom I have created for my glory, I have formed him, yes, I have made him. You were custom tailored for the pleasure of God, to be a blessing, to become part of who He is. The Lord's Prayer ends with the words. This is from Matthew 6:13. Thine is the kingdom and the power and the glory. For how long? Forever and ever. And that's a long time. Amen. That's our good word for the day. Thanks so much for tuning in. Whoever you are, wherever you are. May God continue to richly bless you with His mercy and with His grace. And I'll see you at the bell.
Remember this, there is no greater return on investment than to see a human life changed and given hope. As always, pray hard and trade safe. Any financial information discussed on this show is simply the opinion of our host, Dwayne Reeves, his co-hosts, and guests. To learn more about trading Emini Futures or to take a 1-week free trial in our live trading room, call 1-866-928-3310. 866-928-3310. Information discussed on this radio program should not be construed as a recommendation to buy or sell any security. Always do your own due diligence and consult with a licensed securities broker or financial planner before making any investment decision.